Hey guys, do good Maverico here. Isolation is a dream killer. You know, years ago I saw this TEDx talk by Barbara Sher titled Isolation is the Dream Killer. It has over 6 million views on YouTube. And it's an amazing TEDx talk where she basically talks about isolation being a dream killer. She said something like, isolation is the dream killer, not your what was it she said? Yeah, not your attitude. Isolation is the dream killer, not your attitude. And when you think about it, it's very often the case. Isolation is a dream killer, and especially isolation from people. Of course, that's the main thing. But also isolation from it can also be isolation from right knowledge, networks, stuff like that. But yeah, mainly people. So whatever you're trying to accomplish, you're probably just I mean, the chances are high that you're just one more contact away from your next breakthrough, or at least for a massive step towards your next breakthrough. You know, there's a lot of problem in the world. It can be tech problems or even massive problems or of all kinds. And people try to find out, how can I fix this? How can I fix this? Well, you can Google it. How? But like the strategic coach Dan Sullivan says, who, not the how. If you ask yourself who can you ask to help with this? Who is an expert at this? Who can I hire to help? Who can I interview? Who can I do a strategic alliance with? Who can I do a joint venture with? Who can I go on a podcast with? Who can I send a cold message on Facebook and email and direct mail? That's an overlooked one. The least crowded inbox these days is usually the physical mailbox. So if you send someone a handwritten letter or even a package, it's very likely to be opened and read, you know. Or you can cold call people, or call people that know the right person. Maybe they can give you an introduction. By the way, sorry for all the background noise. I'm outside and I stopped my car at this spot and there's a bunch of goats outside. So yeah, isolation is a dream killer. Yeah. But of course, then it's talking about the right people. Just living in a city surrounded by people all the time, that's not going to be a solution in and of itself. You can be just as isolated in a city as in a log cabin out in the woods sometimes. So it's about the right people. And the exciting thing these days, of course, all these online tools like video calls and that kind of stuff is never really going to replace the quality. It's never going to be of the same quality as meeting people in real life. But that being said, it's a lot cheaper. If you're going to travel around the world and try to start a conversation with 500 people in real life, that's going to be expensive. But these days, with technology, internet, AI, stuff like that, you can do it quickly and cheaply. But it's easy to get fooled because, especially if you're into the online marketing world, there's a lot of people that are, what should I say, on the level like they make like $100,000 to $5 million a year, something like that. It's often the case that they want money for everything. So, oh snap, I don't have access to any people because everyone wants money. No, not everyone. There are people that if you cannot afford to hire people, there are still some people out there that are willing to help you out or give you some advice. And the thing is, once you get on kind of a higher level, I mean, then oftentimes they're not even asking for money. If you ask a millionaire for advice on your email marketing, Maybe he refused to tell you anything unless you pay him like $5,000. If you ask a multi-millionaire or a billionaire for advice, maybe he will give it for free. Because it's not, it's not always the case that all people are as hard to reach. Sometimes it's easier to reach people that are making more money than people that are making less money. It depends on what their strategy is like. There are billionaires out there that have only like something like 400 or 500 followers on Instagram. So if you send them a DM, chances are actually pretty high that they're going to read it and maybe they will reply. But as other online marketers that are using Instagram to generate traffic and stuff, then it can actually be more competition. So yeah, my point is that you shouldn't reject yourself. If you think they will reject you, okay, let them reject you. Don't reject yourself. You miss 100% of the chance. I mean, like Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And what a sad thing to go through life and reject yourself, kind of like in the dating world. If you visit, let's say, almost any kind of social occasion, and there's a bunch of pretty girls in their 20s, the smoking hot 10, if you're going to rank them from 1 to 10 in attractiveness, the smoking hot 10 is probably going to be easier to talk to and have less competition than the 5'8s. Because the thing is, almost all men think they are out of their league, and they're so intimidating, so pretty, and they get so nervous just by the thought of walking up and talking to them that they do nothing. And if you are insecure, chances are the rest of the world, or almost all of the rest of the world, are too. So what most men do, they walk up talking to the 8s, 7 and 8s, because they reject themselves from the 10. And paradoxically, the competition is less for the 10. Of course, now we're not going to judge or rate or rank women only by looks, but when it comes to the first impression on women, looks is a big thing. And it's just kind of an analogy, because a lot of the things happening in dating is almost kind of like a microcosmos of a lot of other things in life. So yeah, if you have some big goals or difficult things you want to achieve and you're isolated from the right people, try to reach out to them and see if you can get advice, if you can make a deal, whatever it is you're trying to do. And there's this theory, I think it's called 7 degrees of separation. Like whoever it is on the planet that you want to reach, you are 7 degrees or less of separation away from them. So if you want to talk to the president of the United States, you don't know him, but maybe you have a cousin that has a very good friend, and his uncle is working with a buddy that is working in the White House with the president, something like that. You get the point. So even if you can't reach people directly, maybe you can try to reach out to someone that have access to them. Maybe they can introduce you, especially these days when stuff is going on with Facebook, if you're using Facebook, when you can't friend request and send messages to anyone you want because they're landing in the message request folder or stuff like that. If you can get someone to introduce you, then you can get around a lot of hurdles, and you aren't a complete stranger, because at least you have an introduction. But yeah, social media, email, phone, and don't forget the direct mail, especially if you're trying to reach owners or CEOs of big companies. then the trick can often be to send a physical package in the mail and follow it up with a phone call. You should check out the Dream 100 strategy that Chet Holmes came up with. If you read his book, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, in there he explains the Dream 100 strategy. There's a lot of people talking about the Dream 100 strategy in online marketing, but usually they have butchered the whole thing apart. They're not even sending out direct mail packages or direct mail letters. They think they can do the whole thing just by DMing people. And a lot of it you can do just online, but to get the full effect of reaching them in the least crowded inbox and with the least amount of gatekeepers and hurdles and distractions and stuff, oftentimes the trick is to send them a physical direct mail package in the mail. Because letters is usually opened by the secretaries and office people, but if I get a package that looks like it is something inside it, that it's not just a letter, you know, and then it's usually handed over to the CEO. If you're marked on the envelope to CEO and the name, in addition to the address, oh, this is to the CEO, and they will hand it over. Then you can include a thing inside, maybe a chocolate. It can be almost anything that makes the package a bit bulky. It doesn't have to be expensive, but then you just write in your letter and you tie it into your message. So yeah, isolation is a dream killer. By the way, another thing that came to mind. Of course, this is not an extensive explanation of the concept, but of course, one thing that has to be mentioned is Facebook groups and communities and paid communities, maybe also forums and other places where you can communicate one-to-many, podcasts, blog posts. You know, it's not just about outreach one-to-one. Oftentimes, maybe you have some problem or challenge or whatever it is, and you don't know exactly where the solution is or who the expert is. Then you can kind of talk to a whole audience, and chances are some of them is going to have either the solution or they can point you in the direction of the solution. In her TEDx talk, Barbara shared, you know, isolation is the dream killer. That's TEDx talk. The examples that she gave, in pretty much all of them, people were, you know, the way she explained the TEDx talk, this is going to be a very rough explanation, but almost all her examples were of people in kind of assemblies with a bunch of other people. They were gathered together on certain different events, and then they just stated their dream, what they wanted to achieve, and then people in the audience could chime in if there was some way they could help. One lady wanted to dance with Patrick Swayze. Like that's going to happen. But then in the audience, someone happened to be, I think it was the wife of a man, and his sister used to clean his vacation house, something like that. And she were able to arrange things, so she got to dance with Patrick Swayze. Another example that she brought up was a lady wanting to go on a cruise, but she didn't have the money for the tickets, people to watch after her daughter, stuff like that. But then in the big audience, someone happened to have a ticket that they had won, but they didn't want to go on a cruise. So here, you can have my ticket. Then someone else came up that she was working as a nurse, something like that. And she, as a nurse, it was a requirement that she had to give away, I think it was 10 days of voluntary work per year. So she had to do it. So she said that she could look after her daughter, her sick daughter, while she was on a cruise. So yeah. And also in that same story, there was a third challenge that she didn't want to say, but now that they had solved the two first challenges, she kind of had to say the third one, and that was that her daughter had an ex-husband that was a stalker. So she was afraid of being home alone, something like that. And then a police officer in the back of that event was kind of yelling out, "I'm a cop, what's his name?" I think he showed up to stay guard over the weekend or something like that. So, but anyway, that's just two of the many examples that she brought up in the TEDx talk. And then you can kind of just let your imagination run wild for how you can apply this. You can post different places. You can reach out to people. You can be interviewed on podcasts, etc. And you know, another thing, especially when it comes to the business world, is like Jay Abraham said. He said something like, your biggest problem is the solution to someone else's even bigger problem. So maybe your problem is that you need help with promoting your new paid community about dog breeding, maybe. Yeah, maybe someone else has an even bigger challenge of getting people on their podcasts. Maybe that's just one, and then you can be their solution. Or maybe someone has a podcast about dog breeding, about dogs, but they're not making enough money. So they are looking for a promotional opportunity. Maybe you can put together a great affiliate program and you can be part of their solution to making more money, because you can joint venture or yeah, get them on board as an affiliate. Anyway, there's a lot of things that could be said about isolation being a dream killer, but yeah, try to keep that in mind and don't isolate yourself from the right people, from the right knowledge, from the right solutions, from the right networks, from the right communities, from the right opportunities. All right, God bless.